Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now. Miles, man, the run you're on right now, it's a pretty damn good one. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Let's talk about this run, man. Like, 4 fights in a row, you've won. Just how do you feel? How do you feel about the development inside that cage?
My confidence is really high right now. I really trust the process. I feel like when I do the work and when I do the work that I'm gonna be ready and I'm gonna be able to go in there and get my hand raised. So that's a really nice part of it. At the same time, I feel like a little bit of pressure, but I like pressure. I'm like, oh, you got four in a row. Like, how many can we stack up? Can we get five? Can we get six? There's people on like 7 and 8 fight win streaks. So I feel that. I know that there's a bunch of monsters, but I just want to keep stacking those dubs. I want to be on a 5 fight win streak, a 6 fight win streak. So I use that as fuel definitely when I'm training.
Yeah, a win streak in the UFC is impressive, but a win streak in the bantamweight division is
Yeah.
extra impressive, man. Like, especially like you just said, if you go to like 7, 8, are you more like of the mentality of just being like undeniable and just saying like, I'll take any fights, I'll just win them and just stack it up?
I am. I feel like I really rise to the level of my competition, and I just know that I'm ready for anybody in the division. You know what I mean? And at the same, like while I want to stack up a bunch of wins, I'm also just taking it one fight at a time. Like I'm just focused on Cody right now, just the next fight. That's it. And I know that when I do that, I will start stacking these wins up. But yeah, man, I want to be in the big fights. I want to be fighting the toughest dudes, and I want to show that that's where I belong.
Yeah, in the last couple of years, you made a few changes, you made a few moves, but now it seems like you found the home that you've been searching for, the coaching, the partners, everything. Like, how comfortable is that for you right now?
It's good, man. I feel I'm super close with Trey, my coach. We're super tight. We're putting in a ton of work, and I felt that for a while. For a big part of my career, I felt at home at Fortis, and but making that transition, going through that, there's just a part where you're kind of in the middle and you are setting yourself like you're like reestablishing everything, reestablishing yourself. So, but we've had 4 fights together now, so yeah, we're super comfortable. It feels like everything else that just feels like it's so far in the past that it's not even in my mind really.
Yeah, you've had 2 fights this year already, and let's talk about the last one, man, because I feel like that one was extra impressive. Against Douglas Andrade. His whole name is very long. Andrade, you outstruck him in that fight. Like when you look back at that performance, and how you prepared for him and the type of opponent he is, and you step in there and you face off against him. Like, what kind of adjustments did you make that worked against Andrade?
Um, well, first I appreciate the compliment, but yeah, I don't know. When I look back at that fight, I did think that Douglas was going to bring a little bit more of a war to me. He usually comes with a little more volume than that, and I was expecting him to do that. So when I look back, I do wish that I had more volume in that, but at the same time, I feel like I was landing at such a high percentage. I feel like I was seeing everything. I was seeing what he was throwing. I was seeing my shots, and when I threw them, I was landing them. I felt really good and really comfortable in there. Maybe a little bit more so than I thought I was landing. I had that in my head. Like I really think that I can use my speed and my precision and my timing to just outstrike this guy. I had it in my head, but it feels good to go in there and do it. And when you do it time and time again, like I felt the same way in the fight before that. I felt the same way in the fight before that. Like I'm going in there and I'm building this confidence. Like yeah, it doesn't matter. Douglas was a striker for as long as I can remember, like a big Muay Thai guy. So he's like a seasoned striker. So it was a big confidence booster for me to go in there and outstrike him, and I feel like I did it with ease. I know. I wish I had a little more volume. I wish the fight was a little bit more exciting. I expected him to bring a war, and I was ready for that. But I'll find a way to bring that volume even when people aren't coming forward, because I think when I'm punching people in the mouth, they're going to stay on their back foot a little bit.
Now that I think about it, looking back on Douglas, he has power, but you also have power as well. Do you feel like that was kind of something that he was very cautious of, and that's how the fight played out? The reason, maybe?
I feel like we both had power, but he realized that I throw my power much better. I don't think people really understand the timing and the precision when I'm throwing my shots. Like he was throwing the right hand and I'm right under and I'm landing my right hand. And I see that a lot in the practice room. Obviously, people know that the right hand's coming. I can still find a way to land it. I just feel like with Douglas, I feel like he was a little bit surprised at my timing and my precision, and I feel like Cody's gonna be the same. I feel like that's just what's being a little underestimated in my striking. I know that that's what's winning me these fights. Like when I'm shadow boxing and I'm training and I'm sparring and I'm doing all this stuff, I'm focusing on just having just elite timing, elite precision. You think I'm going to be here, or you think my overhand right's coming from here, and it comes from a different place and a different angle and a different time. So, yeah, that's just what I'm focused on. I'm just trying to like just master the martial arts, dude. Just like I do have a little bit of speed, but maybe I'm not the fastest. Maybe Cody has a little faster hands, but my timing will be there, my precision will be there, all that.
That fight was in June. How were you physically after that one?
Great. I was great. I didn't have any injuries. I lost my voice for a little bit because he kept punching me in the throat, oddly. But it was a little bit different. But I was great. I was healthy, and I got to get back to training. Super grateful for that, and I feel good now. Like that fight was in June. I think this is gonna be my fourth fight in 14 months. So almost hitting that 4 fights a year phase, and I feel great doing that. Like I feel like it keeps me sharp. It keeps me understanding what it feels like to be in there, like just to be in the octagon. Like I don't know, I feel really comfortable and really good right now.
It also keeps the bank account stacking, right, which is important.
Yeah, it is, because kids will try to suck it dry, so yeah, it helps with that.
You got a few kids, right? Like, I think you probably have the most kids out of anybody in the UFC.
I think there is a couple that have a few more, but I got four
Okay.
boys, so it's
Yeah.
a madhouse. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. I got one daughter. I cannot imagine what 4 boys would be like.
Yeah, yeah, it's wild, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. So you said you're good. Like, you're supposed to fight Cody Garbrandt on October 12th. Like, what happened with that date?
I don't know. He said that he was having some issues. I don't know if it was a health thing, if it was a timing thing. I'm not really sure. So, um, it's all good. I didn't ask too many questions. I give him his respect. I know he's a vet. I if he feels like he needed 4 more weeks, that doesn't seem that long. So I don't think it'd be a serious injury. But I do expect him to know his timing and know how to go in there and peak. You know what I mean? He's a vet. He's done this before. So I just hope that he shows up November 9th. I hope that he has a good, healthy camp and that this fight goes through. And I think it will. But yeah, I'm excited.
Did the UFC give you other options? Did they say like, okay, you could fight Cody, a month later, or we'll give you this fight on the 12th or a couple weeks after that?
No, they didn't. They might have if I asked, but I mean, I was fine with it. It wasn't too much later. And I love the matchup. It's a big name. I want to fight. I want to fight big fights, big names. So, yeah, we didn't even ask. We're just like that's fine. But this time, I did say that if something happens November 9th, then I'd rather just get a new opponent and fight that day. But I don't think anything will. It seems like he's training hard and working hard. So, yeah.
Yeah, a huge opportunity, man. A former champion. Whenever you get a chance to fight a former champion that still looks like he has it, man. Like to me, he still does, man. In his last couple performances, he's shown that he still has the spark.
Yeah, I think he hurt Figgy in the first round just a little bit. If you're watching closely, you can saw that he landed a shot there that kind of hurt him. And right before that, he knocked out Brian Kelleher in the first round. So I do think he still has it. But yeah, I also think it's a great matchup. I'm excited. It's kind of crazy. I saw him when I fought Douglas. I went to the PI for my shakeout the day fight day, and I saw Cody in the locker room, and he was kind of giving me some pointers on, what he thinks I should do in there and stuff. And I met his son, like he introduced me to his son and everything like that. And I'd seen him a couple times before, but that one was just, I don't know, it had a different energy about it. So everything is cordial. Everything still is cordial, but I don't know. Sometimes. The universe or God speaks to you in a funny way. So after they mentioned that, or after Jason came to me with the name, it was just yeah, it seems like it was all meant to be. So um, yeah, it's crazy because I did look up to him for a long time. I still do. I think he's one of the greatest bantamweights to do it. Had one of the greatest performances for sure against Dominic Cruz. I mean, that may have been one of the best performances I've seen in the octagon. He was on fire. So I still give him that respect, and it'll be fun being in there with him, mixing it up.
Yeah, it's probably one of the greatest title fight performances at in the bantamweight division ever,
Honestly,
right?
I really think it was, and I was watching him, like just watching his stories on Instagram and stuff throughout that whole camp. I saw he was doing like 3 days. I saw just how hard he was working. So then to see the lead up from the camp and then go see watch him perform like that, yeah, it was one of the best performances I've ever seen. So
Now, for yourself, you get into camp for this fight, but it's kind of extended, right? Do you extend the camp out and say like, I'm just going to do a couple weeks longer, or do you take a break in between? How did you, schedule that?
I try to time it right. I have been fighting a lot lately, so I've been in camp quite a bit. I'm always working hard. I'm always training and always doing things like that. But I try to time it out to where I land the plane on the runway at the right time. I can't be walking around here in like fight mode for 12 weeks. I think my family and my kids would probably pack their bags and run away or something. Because I'm definitely when I'm locked in, like I'm really locked in. So I've been training, but we're just putting the foot on the gas just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. This was 8 weeks just last week, so we really started hitting it hard. In 6 weeks we'll be full blown, and they're getting after it. So yeah, I try to time it right.
What's the crew around you? Is it the same cast for you?
Yep, same crew. These I got some amateur. I mean, honestly, we got some amateur guys and some just like barely turning pro guys that are really good rounds. And I just trust the whole process. I trust Trey and I doing our privates multiple times weekly, doing all the classes, doing gi jujitsu, no gi jujitsu, doing these rounds with these guys that maybe they don't have the records and they don't have the experience, but they given me hard rounds for all four fights before, and it's proven in the cage. It's came out in the cage. So now I just trust that. I'm like, yeah, maybe Trey Gotti is only on his second amateur fight and he's getting me in one of these rounds, but I know that he's just good. Like these guys are good. So um, yeah, I have a solid group around me.
Yeah, there's a lot of unsung heroes in fighters camps, right? We see you're in the UFC, but there's guys at the gym we don't even see that we might see in a couple years, but they're unsung heroes. They help you so much, right?
It
Without
really
them,
is.
there's no you, right?
100%, and you really got to learn to balance that, like because if you have a big ego, you can get in your head about that, like why is this guy giving me a hard round, like he doesn't even have, like he's 1-1 as a pro, or what, 1-0 amateur, whatever. But you really start to realize that I don't know, skill set, like it's so close, it really is a game of inches. And when these guys are giving me hard rounds, there's been a time that I question it, and then I go in there and I fight amazing. And I'm like, yeah, that's just because these are good fighters and they know you. So you just gotta put your ego aside, you gotta trust the process, and you just gotta be grateful to have people in there giving you that good work. Um, so yeah, that's what I try to do, and I try to keep it fun. I don't get too emotional about it. I know that I know how to perform when it's time to perform and peak when it's time to peak.
Yeah, you and Cody have unique striking styles, but there's
Mhm.
some similarities there. How is your breakdown of the differences?
I think that he just has a few more holes. I think the world probably expects him to have better hands than me and be a better boxer, and I think he is a great boxer. But I'm looking to prove that I too am a very good boxer. I've been around, I've been in the game for a while. I've been training my boxing. I feel like when I'm doing my shadow boxing and stuff, I just do it a little bit differently. I really do trust my hands, and I'm looking to prove that I got some of the best hands in the business. And I think that maybe he might leave himself open, and I don't think it'll be good if he takes one of my shots. So we'll see
Yeah.
what
Huge
happens.
opportunities, man. Huge opportunities in that fight.
Yeah,
Whenever someone talks about, boxing and MMA, I always think of Max Holloway when he's yelling in the cage, I'm the
best
best
boxer
boxer.
today. Yeah, yeah. And now, I mean, yeah, I can't wait for him and Ilya. Because Ilya is a
Yeah,
damn good boxer too.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, man, it's the hand speed is something that sticks out with Cody, right? He does have that hand speed. He's very quick.
Very
But
fast.
he does have a wrestling background, man. Do you feel like that is going to be something that's going to come out in the fight, or do you feel like it's going to be striking? Like you guys going to battle it out on the feet?
Um, I feel like if I crack him and he feels how good I cover distance, being able to get out of the way when he comes with his barrage of punches, I could see him wrestling. I also feel like in the position that he's in past, like against Trevin Jones, when he's fighting a guy who doesn't really have the name behind him or the rank behind him, he's a little more cautious of getting knocked out. I think he'll find out quickly that if I touch him, I could knock him out. And I think in those type of fights, he does bring in some of the wrestling. But I'm a state champion wrestler too, so uh, So yeah, we can do that thing too. And I've been working on my jujitsu, so we'll take it anywhere. I hope that I just show a mix of all the martial arts. I want to outbox him. I want to out wrestle him. I just want to beat him up.
Yeah, I see a very like technical battle, man. I'm excited for this matchup because it's an opportunity for you, but also, Cody's trying to build himself back up too. You know what I mean? So it's like two
Yeah,
of these like trains just colliding at the same time. You know what I mean? It's
right.
interesting. Like when you envision the fight, like how do you envision it?
I envision it finding my timing, finding my shots. Him trying to pick the pace up a little bit on me because of that. He gets a little bit emotional, cracking him hard. Maybe he tries to wrestle a little bit. I defend the wrestling, maybe beat him up on the ground a little bit, and then in the later rounds, I found a shot that puts his lights out. And I have that moment, and I feel like it's been coming. I am happy with this win streak, but I'm not satisfied with the performance or the results. I want to get finishes. And I really feel like I'm gonna do the work, and that this is gonna be my time on November 9th. I want to put him away.
You want to try to get that ESPN moment, huh? You
I
want to
want to
get
try to get. I've been top 10 once. I need to get on there again. I need that
you
50.
think-
Yeah, I need it all. I need it all. God's been blessing me. I'm grateful, but I need
yeah.
to look for more.
Da-na-na, da-na-na. Yeah, you need to hear that sound, man.
Yeah,
It's great. A couple questions outside your fight. We just saw the belt change hands. Merab is the champion now. What'd you think of that fight and some of the weird stuff that went on in that fight?
yeah, that was a crazy fight. A lot of wild, weird moments, but I think Merab deserves it. I think Sugar's made a lot of money, and I think that the crown is just so fleeting. Like people are so good right now. It's like you can't. I don't know. You just can't even hang on to that. Like I was so happy to see Marab's moment. I'm a little bit sad that the Sugar era is over already because I was a fan and it was a fun time. Like he seemed like untouchable, and now it's already the time that people are showing that no, he's not as untouchable as people thought. That you can do what everybody was wondering if you could do to him, which is wrestle him and beat him up. Like yeah, he is susceptible to that. So it really just shows you just got to like fall in love with the martial arts. You can't. I'm not worried about belts and all that. Like I want to make money. I want to be in big fights and make big money. If I find myself in a title fight, I know that I could. I know that I could win. I know that I'm one of the best in the world. It could be the best, but you can't like look for belts and that to hang on to that. You just like Max Holloway's just like out here floating around. Like people thought he was done so many times, and he just loves MMA so much and puts on such great fights that he's probably bigger now than he ever was as champion. I'm just looking at that, focused on that. I'm happy for Merab in his moment.
If your opponent kissed you in the fight, like how like how would you react to
I'm probably getting up and trying to hit him just like Sugar did. That wouldn't.
that?
I don't think anybody wants that to happen, but hopefully you're so locked in that it doesn't.
Yeah.
Even realize. But yeah, and with Marab as champion, Marab is good, but I mean, anybody could have that belt. Really, he
Mhm.
is good, but he also has his holes and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, Umar, man, like that's gonna be a hell of a fight as well.
yeah, Umar's a problem.
Yeah.
He's a problem.
You think he gets it done? They're kind of. Do
Yeah.
you feel like they're similar, or I think
I
that
feel like they're
Umar's
similar, but
striking
I
is
feel like
legit.
Umar's a little better. I do think Umar gets it done. I think Marab, I don't think he's gonna hold on to the belt for too
Mhm.
long, but I like Marab. But
Yeah.
yeah, Umar's a problem.
And starting in November, actually, your fight, the new rules will be in effect. Like the 12 to 6 elbows will be allowed now, and the rules for the definition of a grounded opponent. Like you can't be on the tripod, you can't be like on all fours anymore. That's not a grounded opponent anymore. Is it
Mm, okay.
interesting, right?
Yeah, it is. I knew about the 12 to 6. I actually thought those were already in effect. I didn't know that it was. I guess that makes sense that there's a little period because it got passed and there's a period of time before they implement it. But yeah, that will be interesting. I don't think it changes it. I mean, I don't know. They always say like you can't play with the up and down. You don't even see it that much. So I think that's a good rule. And the 12 to 6, yeah, I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, man. I'm interested to see like there's like one card before the card that you fight on. That's the
Uh,
one that starts with the new rules. So I'm
okay,
interested to see if any fights you see anything because I think like the rules there will be less interference by the referee with these rules
right.
implemented now. That's what's
Yeah,
important, I think, with the fighters.
yeah, that is, and I think that there should be. I'm hoping that just all around there's a little less. There's a lot of activity from Herb even in the
Mhm.
Rob and Sean fight. I don't know. I don't always love all that interference and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, the less involvement of the referee, the better.
For sure. November 9th, UFC Fight Night, UFC Apex, man. Hopefully they take you out the Apex eventually, man. Like I think this fight should have been in front of a crowd, but who know, we don't make the decisions. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, Miles, for the time. Always good chatting with you and all the best in the fight.
absolutely, man. I appreciate it.